The Overnight Man by Peter Turson, adapted by the author from his stage play The Night John, with Peter Baldwin as the Overnight Man.
"Now," he says to me, "do you think you're up to it?" This was him, his first shot, the manager, so-called. "Do you think you're up to it?" Does he mean all these duties? The strain of all this responsibility, perhaps? The vast initiative required to stand here through the night? "The hours are very onerous," he says. Immaculately dressed, I'll give him that. In a style, I may add, of which I don't approve. Frilly shirt, maroon jacket, looks like a dance band leader. Now, in my day, a manager... Oh, but I'm not to mention my day. "If I take you on," he said, twirling the gold sovereign ring on his finger, "I don't want your glorious past brought up. I don't want any mention of your day." What's that a sign of in a manager? I'll tell you, lack of confidence, screaming out with insecurity. He's terrified. "What you have been is of no account to me or this hotel. Here you are purely the overnight man." Note the jargon. Overnight man. That is the terminology of the Mirage Hotel. Overnight man. Well, thank you very much for that notable put-down, but I am not an overnight man, and I never will be an overnight man. I am a night porter, and this is what I shall always consider myself to be. I'm not ashamed of that. A night porter was always a man of position and integrity in my time. But I said I wouldn't mention my time. I wouldn't bring up my glorious past. "Can you handle the paperwork?" he asked. This registration form for guests. "Please sign here, sir. Any rabbit hutch that you prefer. You have landed at the Mirage Hotel." The Mirage. Anybody want a coconut? There's a potted palm in every corridor. Decor, plastic, of course. I don't know when they were last rubbed down, but somebody's written his name on the leaves. Thank God he didn't have the date. And now, the logbook, with its palm tree motif, and thence the onerous duties previously referred to. "Ensure you fill in the logbook." Synchronize your watches, because you are with a punctilious man tonight. First visual patrol, midnight. Second visual patrol, 2 a.m. I shall be there. Third visual patrol, 3 a.m. Fourth visual patrol, 4 a.m. And, come the dawn, fifth visual patrol, 5 a.m. And if all is clear, you will write, "All clear." All clear. All is clear through the night. All is clear through my life. Enough of that. No nostalgia. New job, new outlook. Switch on the music. I'm in charge of the music tapes after 11 p.m. when the day staff go off duty. Let me switch one on and let it pour over them like clear honey. What have we here? Beautiful music, number 1. Number 2. What's this? Music to match your mood? But not given that, we'll have a mass suicide. Ah, presto, found the one. Miscellaneous French music. No music from any part of the world has more atmosphere than French melodies. Here you can give your customers the very feel of everything that is traditionally Parisienne. Who needs to cross the channel? I received my training in wines in Paris, under Monsieur Alsman, before the word wine was devalued into plonk. For the first time in France, I extended my boy's horizons beyond the label and beyond virginity. Monsieur Alsman taught me the secrets of the cellar, and a woman called Michelle taught me... They both taught me with generosity. "You have a palate," cried Monsieur Alsman. "You have a heart," sighed Michelle. Had I but stayed in Paris, But no regrets. Je ne regrette rien. Enough. Switch off the French evening. Give 'em a soft selection for battery hens. That'll drift 'em off to bed. I thought so. Here they come. They crawl like snails to their dreaded battery hutch. They linger a moment longer in the lounge. They hover at my desk, their eyes imploring me to keep them in a moment's conversation.
It's been quite a fine day.
It has indeed, sir.
Let's hope we have it fine for tomorrow.
Let's hope so, sir.
It would suit me fine if it was fine for tomorrow.
I'm sure it would, sir. But do excuse me. I have to take down an early call. This is where 40 years of experience shows my penetrating insight. The manner in which they give their request for an early morning call, or their demand for an early morning call, and I've got 'em summed up like that.
Give me a call at 6:30. No, make it 6:45.
Note the arrogance to those beneath him. My goodness, you are a big businessman, aren't you, sir? Been around a bit, have you? Board of directors, is it? Who for? Imperial pigs?
Excuse me. What time's breakfast?
7:30, sir. And give me a call at 7:25. Slovenly beast. See him coming down half awake and ungroomed from his mirage pit to foul a soft-boiled egg. Perhaps I could have a call at 7 o'clock, please. Certainly, sir. Perhaps is a hopeful man. Perhaps I could have tea in my room. There is a tea-making machine next to your bed, sir. Perhaps if I left my shoes out, you could shine them for me. I'm sorry, sir, we don't shine shoes, but there is an electrically driven shoe shine machine in every corridor. For 10 pence, you can shine your own. Perhaps you could... Perhaps I could do nothing, sir. We have no room service at the Mirage. How do you like that? Of what desert is this a mirage, you might ask? I'll tell you. 10 minutes off the motorway, a twist off the bypass, and distastefully convenient for London. And our clients? Mechanical men who run on straight lines. In the past, there was splendor and sparkle. I have been host to kings and princes. But I mustn't bring up my past, dredge up my glories, so I will keep them to myself. What? And starve the weary world? No, I have had film stars and sportsmen, moguls, magnificos, pashas, pushers, social climbers and lofty nobility. I have seen the kaleidoscope of life. Back to mundane reality. The last of the day staff go off duty. Good night, chef. Had a busy night. 83 for dinner. 83? For ossobuco with macaroni, midget steak, maitre d'hotel and scampi with chips. Did you select that menu, chef? Me? Select a menu like that? You must be mad. Menus here are not selected, they are laid down. Ah, chef. It would do your heart good to prepare a fine tourne Rossini, to concoct a divine fricadelle de veau à la crème. You know about these things? I've been around the great kitchens of Europe, chef, but I'm not to bring up my past. Mon diable, what a man to be our overnight man. Night porter, chef. Give me my title. Good night, chef. One thing that is honoured in the catering trade is expertise. If it were known, if it were even whispered, rumoured that I was once the manager of... But no names. I am the night porter of the Mirage. Therein lies my only expertise, but by God, I'll be respected for it. In the morning they'll rise, and to a man they'll say, "What a night porter was on duty last night." Good night, head waiter. I hear you had 80 at table. 80? 83. Run off my feet. Book me an early call, there's a good man. An early call? What do you want an early call for?
I'm on breakfasts.
On breakfasts? I never cast aspersions on the man at the helm, but when I see a head waiter dead on his feet, I know there's a manager with his arse on a bar stool. Listen. Movement. Every hotel has its institutionalized inmate. Yes, even at this time of night he potters about. This is his world. Up the stairs, down the corridors, in the staff quarters, down reception. The geography of his life is on the architect's plan of this place. There he goes, his final round before sleep robs his life of its emptiness. He's the odd job man. Armed with his screwdriver, his tin of paint and his bag of nails, he potters about. His world is the hotel. He keeps budgies in his room. 2 males, of course. They don't want a breeding problem. But let's not mock the lonely. They give us all a foretaste of the grave.
Midnight. First visual tour of inspection. Our first test for the key man. Down the corridors, test all fire escapes. Through the grill room, turn off lights. Into the business suite, where the executives drink iced water and make tepid decisions. Secure back door. And into the function room.
What function could possibly grace this room? Oh, how I remember the receptions and gala nights, the world premieres, the soirees, the follies and extravaganzas of the spoilt and the privileged. But I mustn't rake up the past. I came not to praise Caesar, but to bury him along the carpeted corridors of silence. Just wipe the plastic palm leaf with a damp rag and keep on the tour of duty. Now, down to the kitchen, as every experienced night porter must, for the early hours are hungry hours. Spotlessly clean, I'll give you that. Have no fear, if you stay at the Mirage, you will have hygienic cooking. What you will not have is interesting cooking. Stainless steel hygienic paradise. The chefs of old used to thrive on a bit of filth. A few cockroaches were absolutely au fait. The old Splendide was alive with mice. The Centrale, the Grand, they all had their livestock. At the Imperial, I kept a grey rat. Horace by name. Oh, Horace used to come out of the skirting board and taste the food destined for many a grand table. In my kitchen, what would meet the eye but stock pots bubbling, ham soaking, pheasants hanging, meat bleeding, cheeses maturing. Here, all we have is germ-free emptiness. Oh, all up to the standards set by the stainless steel health inspector. A shufty into the wine cupboard. No keys for the wine cupboard, don't they trust a man? But we won't be foiled yet. A glance into the meat cupboard for the cooking wine. Now, what have we here? Madeira. Well, the night is young, so only a quick one. Oh, God! What sauce could possibly be improved by this? So, thinly fortified, we continue the first visual tour. Outside of the side door is a lay-by, where a lorry driver pulls up and draws his curtains, reads his newspapers, has his kip. He has the best room on the site, for does he not sleep free? His is self-catering with a flask and bag of sandwiches. His toilet is in the hedge. He is watched by millions of stars and woken by the dawn chorus of the birds. Our sleepers lie unwatched and uncared for and are woken by harsh alarm. The lights are still on in the bar. The manager is drinking with his cronies.
All right, overnight. Doing the rounds.
Fine, thank you, sir. First visual check. Any questions? Calls his under-manager. What a toady, what a feeble echo.
drinking with his under-manager. When I was an under-manager, by God, catch me on a bar stool with a manager, I wouldn't dare pass his glass. That old dictator allowed me the honour of buying him a drink, but I respected him for it. When I reported for duty in the morning, he used to stand me alongside himself and look into a full-length mirror. Do we look identical, you and I? Because we must, you know. When I look at my under-manager, I expect to see a reflection of myself. And he did. He got it. I aimed for it and gave him just that. A reflection of himself. Not like those two through there. Barflies. Pinky and Perky. Nailing any guests that want a late-night drink. Ah, there they go. Up to their private quarters at last. The under-manager hangs back. He's got a bird, a bit of fluff he's waiting to smuggle up. He's gone. All clear. The barman locks up, brings me the keys. Oh, I thought I'd never finish. Homosexual. You're new here, aren't you? Living in? No? Pity about that. I know his sort. I've seen him 1,000 times. I can see his room now in my mind's eye, full of trinkets and furnishings and hangings. A room above the bar that stinks of beer, and that strange mixture of female perfume on male sweat. The living in on the job is the curse of the lonely old institutionalized hotel hand, and the death of the marriage. Oh, it's not easy for me, you know. You being on the job all the time. We haven't been alone together this week. The married couple living in have no privacy. The old Queen has all the privacy he can bear. Good night then, overnight. Wake me in the morning, by hand if you want. And with a waft he's away, back to his cubbyhole above the bar stairs. The switchboard buzzes. Do you know how to work it? He calls hopefully. Of course I know how to work it. I can play the switchboard like a mighty organ. I am the Johann Sebastian Bach of the switchboard. Reception here. You'd like a call through to Berlin? Certainly, sir. You have the code? Oh, good. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on, sir. Through in a minute, sir. And then, look, you'll just catch him as he's slung out the beer keller. The switchboard. My link with the world of the past. And it is my world. I could plug in and get any one of 1,000 friendly voices of the past. But I didn't bring my address book along. Oh, hello. Guten Abend, Berlin. A call from England. You're through now, sir. Hello, operator. Connect me with my past. She was very beautiful. Left me one night with a note on the pillow. Where is she now? Just connect me with the world. When did she leave? Oh, about 10 years ago. 5 minutes ago was when time stood still. Activity on the back stairs. There goes the under-manager showing up his waitress. Wrong, sir. Morally and tactically wrong. You might get a grip on her body, but you lose a hold on her respect. My maestro said to me, my boy, to waitresses you are a prize to be coveted. But let the hotel trade be your true lover. Don't even let them compete. Good advice. But I was young, and Connie wore black stockings. Within a month, I'd won that girl. Within 2 months, I'd outgrown her. Within 3 months, she was visibly pregnant. And as she wouldn't do the sensible thing, I had to do the honourable thing. Oh, Connie. She didn't have the style, the quality to thrive in my circles among the guests. She wanted to pull me back to the 2-roomed flat and our very own chintz curtains. I couldn't do it. I had the heady breath of luxury living in my nostrils. I was living off the crumbs of my betters, but by God, they tasted sweet to me. I couldn't go back to the plain fare, fish and chips after the filet de sole bonne femme. But Connie went back to it all right, like a pig to the trough. Oh, isn't it lovely to have a place of our own after the confines of the hotel, a place we can call a home? Yes, my dear. All 9 cubic feet of it. The two lifestyles were driven apart by a wedge, and I was making progress in my career and maturing in my manner. I had my collars starched at the Chinese laundry. I learned how to hold a crease in my trousers. I had silver cufflinks, jewel typing. My shoes were handmade and hand-polished. The guests were beginning to treat me as a friend, a confidant. They considered it a privilege to be served by me. To leave all that every night and return to the prison of my youthful indiscretion? The veneer of the waitress had soon peeled off Connie. I realised she'd applied it to herself, like makeup. Late guests. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Schmidt. This is Mr. Kahn. The Dutch-Singapore connection. You must be tired, gentlemen, and hungry, coming from Europe and Asia. Will you sign the registration form, gentlemen? Their faces are grey with exhaustion and haggard with boring travel. Early morning call, sir. I have a digital travelling alarm clock. You would do. So, good night, gentlemen. I would send you on your way with a quick burst of midnight serenade, but it's verboten after midnight. I always liked real musicians in my hotel. I was brought up in the days of big bands, not piped music. But when the last waltz had ended and the guests returned to their rooms, I had to collapse my dreams. Where have you been, my dear? You know I was waiting on a function, my love. Little kiss for Connie now you've come home. Of course, my love. You stink of powder. It hangs on the air, my love. So, into the hot prenatal bed, with laughing phantoms dancing in my head, and a heaving hulk snoring at my side. 2 a.m. Time for the second visual tour of inspection. Down the corridors of lifelessness, where the little grey guests are battened down like battery hens. Every room soundproofed. Listen. Listen for all you're worth and you'll hear nothing. Not a groan, not a moan, not a sigh, not a goodbye. Whether they are pondering life, prospects, suicide, or their navels, there is no one to care. God, there is no life. And do you know why there is no life? It's not just a building, not just a clientele, it's him. The manager, Mr. Lack Life. A manager should draw life. Now, when I was manager, the corridors were crowded with... But I said I wouldn't bring up the past. The 2 a.m. visual tour has been rerouted to be concluded in the cooking wine cupboard. I was told to get myself a snack, a cold collation. I have permission from above to cut off a few slices of meat and stick it under the microwave. Just to vibrate the particles a bit and wake up the germs. To match this snack to this wine is to match the tasteless to the tortuous. Oh. I always insisted that my night porter be laid out a select spread. A little something of delicacy and imagination. Someone to keep his spirits up in the small hours of loneliness. The switchboard blinks. Is it a call or a touch of conjunctivitis? Reception here. Mr. Schmidt. Can I get you Amsterdam? Of course I can get Amsterdam. I can play nights in Vienna on this. Your number is 480921. Yes, I know the code. Connected direct to the world we are nowadays. I remember the days when an overseas call had to go through a long-legged operator, husky-voiced and heaving bosom. Hello, is that Amsterdam? Carlisle? Sorry, go back to bed, sir. Check this blasted grubby little code book again and try and decipher their system. You are about to have a classical connection, Schmitty. If it's Carlisle again, turn over and drop my postcard in the morning. Your number is ringing now in Amsterdam, sir. He's through. He's through. What a triumph. The night calls I have made in the past. A good telephone voice was like music to a man on night duty. But Connie's voice was a whine that made the wires oscillate. "Hello, darling. I can't sleep when you're on night duty. I brought baby to bed with me. Say good night to Connie and baby both." Good night. And goodbye, Connie and baby both. Click. Mr. Schmidt has finished speaking. Now go to sleep, you Dutch Edam, and let your digital alarm give you your early morning call. Listen. Movement on the staff stairs. The under-manager on the stealthy tactics. He's let his little waitress out the side entrance, smooth bastard. Taking advantage of local labour, some village wench pretending she's in the big time because she's walked on fitted carpet. And where does she think it'll get her? It's no use, darling, he won't take you where he's going. I know. When I got my first managership, I knew it was time to take off alone. "Oh, darling, now we can live in the hotel together." Wrong, honey. I'm going to live in the hotel alone. Floods of tears on the threadbare mat. I must go alone. But what about little Connie and baby? I'll look after you. I'll send you all the money you need. It's you I need. I'm sorry. I need to carve my career alone. I'm sorry, honey. Look, don't lose a grip on yourself. I'll provide, honest. I'll provide. I provided. She found it enough to keep her in Guinness and day-to-day sloth. 2:30. This is when the dreadful loneliness of the battery cages takes its toll. If they're not asleep now, it's fags and magazines till first light. Nipping down the corridor to the liquor vending machine. Shh, here it comes now. The first wandering guest. Hi, I couldn't sleep. I reckon I'll take a walk round the car park. Please do, madam. And much good may it do you. She strolls the car park, a red glow of a cigarette in her mouth. In the juggernaut, in the lay-by, the driver sleeps in his cab with his curtains drawn. She'd be better off with him draped over the engine cover. She wants company. The night porter is her last hope against the empty night. A confessor, a confidant. That is his importance. But does that manager know that? No. He doesn't understand the subtleties of the position. He puts his advert in the local paper. Night porter wanted. Security-minded person. Would suit semi-retired man. Is she wanting a security-minded person? No. She wants a warm heart, a receptive ear. Does she want a semi-retired state of mind? No. She wants a mind alive to the world, still living and working in sympathy with his fellows. I beg of you, please note, that woman has paid £30 a night to walk in a car park, pulling at a cigarette. I've known lonely people before, in Rome, Paris, New York. But the story's much the same. Loneliness adapts to its surroundings. She heads back, from the cold emptiness of the night to the centrally heated hollowness of the inside. Well, madam, has the night air settled you down? I don't know what's wrong with me. Say, porter, do you have a drink down here? Got a little supply anywhere? But, madam, you have a mini bar in your room and a liquor dispenser in every corridor. I know it. I have a tea bag in my room as well, and a TV set and a Bible, but who wants to pray and drink alone? Now I'm asking, do you have a supply in there? Let me see. My little drinks cupboard. Yes, madam, I have miniature whiskey, miniature gin, and miniature brandy. 2 miniature brandies make a large one, don't they? They make a reasonable drink, yes. Put one down for yourself. A miniature. A reasonable. She sits across the dimmed lounge. We talk. Her perfume hangs on the air, slowly whisked up into the all-night fans. She tells me she's on the run from despair, looking for something lost, something God. How many times have I heard it? From Monte Carlo to San Francisco, I have heard all. And given all. I didn't try to make them or solace them. I just soothed their loneliness. Good night, Porter. Oh, good night to you, madam. I hope you don't have a master key to fit my lock. An invitation or a weary joke. But she's gone. She might have left me another drink. Perhaps she meant to. Of course she meant to. Cheers, madam. May God go with you till someone else is your escort. 3 o'clock. A third visual patrol. Time to switch off the neon sign which lights up our outside manifesto. There. Give the bunny rabbits a chance to sleep. And now to wait for the dawn. God, I had guests who used to dance till the dawn. Debbie danced till the dawn. Then Debbie was always dancing. Her very soul danced. The first time I ever met her, she danced into my life and into my foyer with a chorus line. They were the dancing troupe from a West End show. The door swung open and in blew an impression of chatter and long legs. The first thing I noticed, and ever since loved about her, was her movement. Such grace, such rhythm, like a gazelle. Our eyes met across the carpeted lounge. I longed to wait upon her, to serve her. I would have been her slave, but in her eyes I saw we are to be enslaved to one another. No, it can't be, surely. But yes, it is to be. But I'm so unworthy. Not to me, but your career, your dancing. Blow careers to the wind. Let us be our own dance. Let us fly away in one another's arms. Oh, Debbie. Debbie, where are you now? Nostalgia has got the better of discipline. It's time to raid the minibar for a series of miniatures. We went to live in Guernsey, in a state of heavenly isolation. Little did I know it, I was still a hostage to the hotel trade. It was dragging me back. This shall be my epitaph. He sold his soul to catering. From my position in heaven, even from the very embrace of my lover, I looked down in longing on the innards of a hotel. I didn't realize it then, but I was institutionalized. I can see it now. What I've given you isn't enough, is it? she said. Yes, yes. Don't deny it. You want to go back to the hotel trade, all right, go back if you must. You can come back with me. No, you can only serve one mistress. She went and left me alone. Not a word, not a line, not a message. Oh, come back, Debbie. Oh, 4 o'clock. 4th visual patrol. Sod the visual patrol. Why should he sleep while I'm patrolling? Set up the miniatures. Listen to the night silence of the hotel. You think the hotel is silent, but listen, it isn't all silence. The building has life, a myriad of tiny sounds. Listen. Creak of doors tugged by a restless wind. Whine of the fans. Blow of the oil-driven boilers. Churn of the automatic ice maker. Oh, I have managed hotels that have had a majesty of sound, the resonance of a mighty organ. This place has all the sound of an artificial lung. Where are the lifts, the page boys, the revellers, the all-nighters, the pulse of life? Where are they? They are not here. Silence goes on a slow pace. What was that? It sounded like a door being forced from the outside. What to do? Pick up a torch. Go and investigate. One in my state of health, shock could kill. No. Call a local policeman. And be caught drunk on duty. No. Lie low and have another miniature. Yes, got to be sensible. Leave the heroics to the old soldiers and widowers. They know the way to die. Things that go bump in the night soon subside with a few stiff drinks. My night porters always had a drink, I ensured that. Was part of the privilege and prestige. All quiet again. Alarm's over. Must have been cats in the garbage bins. That's it. That's the explanation. I knew all along, really. Who'd want to break into this place anyway? What could they steal? The plastic palm trees? The polyester mirage relief in the restaurant? Tomorrow's laid-out breakfast? No, that's a laugh. No, nobody would break in here. Can't see the London boys tearing up the motorway to do this joint. When I managed the Splendide, it was different. Even the thieves and villains were required to wear full evening dress. There were more pickings on a woman's bosom than in the whole body of this modern showpiece. But my security network was tight. My night porters had to be A1, perfect specimens. 9-9 vision, acute hearing, clean bill of health. Wanted, night porter, ex-soldier preferred, state, regiment and medals, good conduct stripe essential. Of all my staff, I vetted my night porters. Of all my staff, I cared for my night porters. There was a certain Riley. What a man. In his night porter's uniform and his top hat, he was known throughout the world. Guests crossed the Atlantic to be signed in by Riley. Film stars, royalty, millionaires would all ask, "Is Riley still here?" Of course he was still there. He was an institution. And he became a legend. He was the only night porter I ever knew. He was tuned to the nerve of that building. And then one night, investigating an unusual sound, he was coshed from behind by intruders. When he came out of his coma, he was in the cabbage patch. A vegetable in red braces. The company would have shrugged off that man. Put him on the compost heap with a few greens for compensation. But I fought for that man. I made it my aim and crusade in life to squeeze the company for every penny compensation for Riley. They began the squeeze on me. You're breaking your own career, fighting for Riley like this, they said. So be it, I'd rather. Riley represents to me everything that is good and proper in the hotel trade. Whatever you do, I measure my career by the devotion that Riley gave to. The trade. That was me. Out. The driver in the lay-by is fast asleep in his cab. Condensation has steamed up his window. He must be breathing heavily. Perhaps he has a mate in with him. Perhaps a woman picked up on the Watford Gap. Good for him. 3 cheers for her. The switchboard is like a silent whore. She sits, waiting for me to seduce me into the past by giving me a line with the past. Hello? Trace a girl called Debbie. Last seen. How long ago? Yesterday. Yesteryear. yester lifetime. Stay asleep, switchboard. You're not going to seduce me. 5 o'clock. Visual check. Stuff the visual check. I have come through. At 5 o'clock the night is over. The day has come. I've come through, you hear? I've come through. And who said I couldn't make it, eh? Who pushed me back into the world and said I wouldn't make it? Who said, with all their service and psychology, I wouldn't make it? I have made it, I tell you. I'll tell them, like I'm telling you. Where's the code book? Isle of Wight, Newport. Is that the little number that connects me with the prisoner who was me? Life of hopelessness? Such a little number. Hello? Newport. Get me the governor. You heard me. Asleep? That bastard never sleeps. He rests on the wakefulness of his charges. Well, tell him I've come through, do you hear? He said he doubted I could carry a job in the hotel trade ever again. I'll tell the bastard I've carried it through the night and I've come through. You what, sir? What's the noise? No noise, sir. I'm not doing my duty, sir. I've stood by my post all night, sir, and done my visual checks. Here's the logbook, sir. It's all down, sir. Visual check 1, visual check 2, visual check 3. All clear. Hitting the bottle. I've not been drinking, sir. Well, not what you call drinking, sir. Now, look, Mr. Manager, sir. I beg your pardon, Mr. Manager, sir. It's a drop of... Night porter's little privilege, eh? What do you mean, my old complaints? My old complaints were the travelling companions of heavy responsibility, sir. My position required everything a man had to give. Stolen? What is stolen? Who has stolen? Up to my old tricks. Let me tell you that stealing from the hotel trade was not my old tricks. I didn't steal from the hotel trade. The hotel trade was my life, my body, my soul. How can a man steal from his own body and soul, his lifeblood? I gave to the hotel trade everything it needed from me, and I took back the little I needed. Sustenance. That's all I ever needed. Sustenance. Relieve me of my duties till the morning. This is the morning. Find a replacement. Who will you replace me with? Some active little chap augmenting his pension with an undemanding job. That's what you'll advertise for, and that's what you'll get. Semi-retired personnel for semi-live establishment. All right. I'll get out. Deduct my drink from my earnings, if that's the reckoning. But when I walk out, sir, this hotel, sir, loses one of its bloodstock. This night it will remember, saying, that was the night I was guarded by a real night porter.
Peter Baldwin played the overnight man in Peter Terson's adaptation of his stage play The Night John, which was first performed by the Reunion Theatre at Chichester in 1980. The Overnight Man was directed for radio by Margaret Ethel.